Good morning and welcome to Fox 29's News Now on this Wednesday morning. We're going to get started with some local news. Former Pennsylvania Attorney General Kathleen Kane was released from prison this morning. In 2016, a jury convicted Kane of leaking grand jury information and lying about it. Fox 29's Lauren Johnson filed this report.
After 8 long or short months, Kathleen Kane is now finally a free woman. Kathleen, how do you feel this morning? Grateful was the only words that she had for awaiting reporters as she was whisked away into a waiting black SUV full of family members who you could hear shriek at the moment she opened the door to get inside. Now, she's been at this facility since November. They have a good time program for inmates who serve a county sentence. And so inmates who qualify, like Kane, earned 6 days credit for each month served problem-free. We heard from the warden that she was a problem-free inmate, never caused any troubles, lived here with 16 other women inside a dorm. She worked in the library, and she's been waiting to come home. You may remember she reported to this facility back in late November. That's because the Montgomery County District Attorney alleged that she abused her power to serve a personal vendetta. That office brought charges against her for committing criminal acts by disclosing secret grand jury information and then giving false testimony under oath to try and cover up what she had done. A jury found her guilty of perjury and obstruction, and a judge imposed a sentence of 10 to 23 months behind bars to be followed by a probationary period. So she did not have to end up serving 10 months even, only 8 months, but we do understand she will now be on probation for about 3 years. She now heads home to Scranton to be reunited with her teenage sons.
And Fox 29 cameras were there as Kathleen Kane, former Pennsylvania Attorney General, was released from jail. We discuss more on Good Day.
A former Pennsylvania Attorney General Kathleen Kane is set to be released from prison in a little bit here.
You may remember in 2016, a jury convicted her of leaking grand jury information and lying about it. She resigned and turned herself in to the Montgomery County Correctional Facility in November. Here's video of it here. Kane was serving a 10 to 23-month sentence, but is getting out early for good behavior.
So Ken, after what, 8 months?
8 months, she was released for good behavior.
Oh, it's good behavior.
Good behavior. She was good while she was in jail. They let her out 2 months early.
Now, what does that mean exactly in prison? That you're not throwing food and stuff like that?
Yeah, you don't cause any, disruption, and you just do what you're told.
Why was she in there in the first place? Alex touched on it.
Well, let me say this. This is a tremendous fall from grace. She was a rising star in the Democratic Party.
Absolutely.
They even talked about her for potentially being a governor down the road. But here's what happened in 2014. She was elected in 2012. Mm-hmm. She was critical of the Sandusky investigation during her campaign.
Yes.
With Governor Corbett and the prosecutors and so forth. The prosecutors didn't like that, so allegedly what happened was they promoted and was the source for an unflattering article in the Inquirer.
Oh.
She then read that, and she got her back up, and she was very annoyed by that. She then leaked a story to the Daily News of grand jury findings, which is a no-no. That's against the law. You can't. Grand jury proceedings are held in secret.
Right.
So once she leaked that to the newspaper and the prosecutors found out, they appointed a special prosecutor. They did an investigation, found out she did in fact leak that information. She was prosecuted, convicted of both perjury and obstruction, because then she lied about it.
And then she lied about it.
Right.
So even though she's being released, though, today, she can't go back to practicing law.
She's been disbarred.
Okay.
She was disbarred in March of 2019.
So she'd have to find a new profession to start over.
It's going to be tough for her. I mean, she is a lawyer. Mm-hmm. She was the highest law enforcement
or I guess
person in
was.
the
If
state.
you've been disbarred, can you technically say?
That you were a lawyer?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Well,
she
you
was a
were.
lawyer. Yeah.
Well, she
was
was,
a lawyer.
yeah.
She's now a disbarred lawyer. So
Can you ever go back to being a lawyer?
you'd have to apply for that, and then there'd have to be a determination, and I think the chances are nil.
That would be extremely long shot.
That's a big long shot. That's exactly right. Bigger than the Phillies winning the pennant, by the way.
Okay. So now, what will her life be like over the next few years?
Well, look, we hope the best for her. I mean, she served her time. She, like I said, it was a big fall from grace. I mean, she was the rising star in the, in the Democratic Party.
Big time.
But she'll be on
Everybody's talking-
probation, right?
She's on probation for 3 years,
Okay.
which I don't think is going to be a problem for her. She's
Now,
not
what does that
gonna
mean?
cause any
Probation for 3 years?
Just that she has to kind of toe the line and not do anything
Can
wrong.
she leave the country and stuff like that?
I believe she probably can. I
Yeah.
don't think
She
she's
just has
gonna
to
say-
check in and let
She just has to
somebody know.
check in and let people know what she's doing and what, what's
Okay.
going on in her life.
You have a lot going on in your life.
I try to have a lot going on. Mike.
Is there any way you could hang here with us? Because we expect this to happen, what, at 8:15, somewhere in there?
Am I going to get overtime for this, Mike? I mean, what's this,
You got to take that up with the boss.
With the boss?
What's
I guess I can hang.
What's 00?
00 is 0. So,
Is it 0?
so
Okay.
I think I'm in for the overtime.
All right, fine.
And more in local news this morning, a newborn baby just hours old was found abandoned on front of a house in Delaware County. The question this morning, who could do such a thing? Fox 29's Bill Anderson filed this report.
As awful as this whole situation sounds, it's 96 degrees outside, hours old. It really is a blessing that that child is doing physically okay. And now here in Upper Darby, they are looking for some answers. Let's take a look at the beautiful baby girl. Here she is. So far, no name for this little girl that Terrell Phillips recorded when he walked out of his house and was shocked to see her on his neighbor's Upper Darby porch. Nobody so far, including police, knows who the baby is, who left her there, or why, but they're hoping that surveillance video or people coming forward can help to identify her. Now, after the initial shock of finding an hours-old baby abandoned began to fade, the neighbors and the police, they were all trying to balance in their minds how this happens and what comes next.
I was at the right place at the right time. So, I mean, I'm not looking to be called no hero or nothing. I'm just like, I'm just happy. I just want the best for that little girl, that's all.
It's the weirdest thing in the world that could have ever happened. To come home from work in the middle of the day and find a baby on your back steps.
Somebody has to know something. Call the police. They can call me directly. I mean, you know, all we want to do is find out why. And if the mom or dad or whoever needs help, then we'll get them the help they need.
Now, to be clear, there are safe haven laws that we've been talking about across our area that allows you to surrender a newborn child without facing legal consequences as long as that child is unharmed. In Pennsylvania and New Jersey, you can drop the newborn off at police stations or hospitals. In Delaware, they ask that you take the newborn child exclusively to hospitals. And the point is to continue to spread the word that even in these desperate situations, there are better options. Now, again, in light of everything that happened, guys, it is a blessing that the baby is safe in the hospital, but the police feel like going forward, they're going to need to figure out who the mother was so that they can answer some of these questions. So if anyone knows anything, and we say this a lot, please come forward.
And in political news this morning, should Democrats be going big or getting real? That's the question that dominated the Democratic presidential primary debate as progressive favorites Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders fended off attacks from lesser-known moderates. The display amounted to a sometimes testy public airing of the party's anxieties about how far left is too left and how to beat Donald Trump. Fox's Doug Luzader has more this morning from Washington.
One down, one to go.
Democrats have wrapped up their first night of debates in Detroit, and they're bracing for round 2 tonight.
Now, let's see. I was watching some of this, Doug, and let me try to imitate the CNN anchor. Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Senator. Senator, thank you. Senator, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Quit talking. Hi.
Yeah, you know, in fairness, you got a lot of people on that stage, right?
True.
It could have been 20, but they still got it down to 10. That's still a lot of people for a debate, but they did have to cut them off pretty often. And this was a debate, you know, not just about replacing Donald Trump, but it was also a question of really the future and the soul of the Democratic Party.
I think if we're going to force Americans to make these radical changes, they're not going to go along. You throw your hands up, but you haven't. Whoa, I can do it.
And that exchange may just about sum it up. A crowded stage and a real debate about where the Democratic Party now stands. And while this had been billed as a clash between Senators Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, it was the moderates who sought to gain traction.
Folks, we have a choice. We can go down the road that Senator Sanders and Senator Warren want to take us, with bad policies like Medicare for all, free everything, and impossible promises that'll turn off independent voters and get Trump reelected.
Sanders and Warren were largely shoulder to shoulder.
You don't know that,
Second
Bernie.
of all,
We'll come to you in a second,
I do know, and I wrote the damn bill.
You know, I don't understand why anybody goes to all the trouble of running for president of the United States just to talk about what we really can't do and shouldn't fight for. I don't get
But beyond clashing over expanding Medicare and decriminalizing border crossings, there was a focus on simply winning in 2020.
Not only defeat this president, but defeat his congressional allies with a defeat so big that it reunites the Republican Party with its conscience.
But this debate and the one tonight are also about lesser-known candidates with a final shot to make the cut for the next debate.
I don't think the Democratic Party should be surprised that so many Americans believe yada, yada, yada.
Google showed that the most searched candidate in just about every state was author Marianne Williamson.
I actually Googled Marianne again just to remind me of all the books that she has written over the years.
And the other interesting thing, too, is that Joe Biden, of course, he's still the front runner, but not a single person mentioned him last night.
No.
Even though that's really who they're trying to go up against.
And he'll be on the stage tonight. Also from New Jersey,
Cory
Booker will be there as well.
And in consumer news this morning, today is National Avocado Day. Some popular restaurants are celebrating the occasion with some deals and discounts. We checked in this morning with Tracy Carrasco.
Tracy, it's National Avocado Day, so where do I get free guac?
Where else but Chipotle? Giving away free guacamole. Aside of that, with the purchase of an entree, but you have to make that purchase through the website or on the app. So if you're not signed up for the app or the website, might be something to do today. Last year, there were some issues that Chipotle had to extend this free guacamole promotion because it said it broke the internet with the giving away free guacamole. Too many people signed up. So that's out there. A lot of other local places doing things. The best place to find those deals, search social media. But this is National Avocado Day, not to be confused with National Guacamole Day, which is actually in September on the 16th.
Because they are two different things.
It's true.
Yeah, it has all the extra stuff in it when you do the guac, and avocado is just avocado.
It's just an avocado. An avocado is a fruit, isn't it? It's a fruit over a vegetable. I believe it's a fruit.
I'll eat it any kind of way.
We grow them here in the United States. In Hawaii, they grow avocados, and I think they're bigger than your normal avocado.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
In Puerto Rico, they have a lot of avocados.
Yeah, Puerto Rico, of course, Peru.
Avocados from Peru, one of our sponsors. We're very grateful for them.
Guatemala.
And avocados are more expensive now. They've doubled in price.
They have gone up not just because of inflation. I think the amount of avocados that people are consuming in the last few years has grown exponentially, but then also there were concerns, the trade issues with Mexico, how that would impact avocado prices. But I think really it's just the demand. The demand has gotten so big for avocados.
Oh, it's a hot food.
It is. It's very trendy.
But when it comes to guacamole, though, since Chipotle is giving out free guac, I'm very particular about it because I'm from Texas, and my mother, she makes guacamole fresh pretty much every day. So I'm big on it. But there is one place in our area, Tracy, you might have to come down to Philly just to be a part of it, Paladar.
Okay.
Where's that?
Oh, King of Prussia. Oh, my gosh. They made some life-changing guacamole, and I've been salivating after it ever since. And it has all kinds. I can't even remember what I was in. I just remember the feeling that I felt after I had it.
Good Lord.
I know. Wow. It was, even my mother was with me. I was judging like a guacamole competition because I love it that much. And my mother, who makes the guacamole fresh, even she said it was better than her own.
Would you say that right now on the air? They make a better guacamole than your mother?
I don't think she's watching right now, so yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes, it was better than my mother's.
Life-changing, Tracy.
Just saying. Worth a train ride.
What was
come on down.
There was a place that I used to get guacamole all the time. They make it right there at the table. Dos Caminos. Is that still in Manhattan?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Also, Elvez here in
here in
Philly.
Philly.
They have a good one with feta cheese and stuff.
TC, we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye. See you tomorrow.
She said, bye. I could talk about avocados all day. Like in Puerto Rico, they've like avocado stuffed with like meat and that kind of thing. Oh, so good. Shrimp stuffed avocados. They had a Chipotle that was like an avocado Chipotle. You get like an avocado bowl and they put different toppings just like Chipotle would for a burrito. I feel like, what is it, Forrest Gump when the guy's talking about shrimp? But I'm talking about avocados. I feel like I'm listing all the different ones.
Shrimp gumbo.
Yeah, all the different types.
Fried shrimp.
They got fried avocados. They got cut avocados. You put a little olive oil on avocados. All right, shall we move on?
And moving on to your Fox 29 Weather Authority. The Philadelphia area is slated for a stormy day Wednesday with warm temperatures, though not as hot as yesterday. A flash flood watch will be in effect today from 2 p.m. through this evening, with showers and thunderstorms forecast to bring periods of heavy rain to our region. Rainfall totals of about 1 to 2 inches are expected. Isolated thunderstorms this morning are expected to become more widespread this afternoon, and a few of those storms may be severe. Temperatures are expected to temperatures are expected to reach a high of around 88 degrees today, with precipitation expected to carry over into Thursday and Friday of this week. Here we have a look at current temperatures in our area. Approaching 70 degrees up in the Poconos and already approaching 80 degrees over in Lancaster. 82 right here in the city of Philadelphia, and a couple degrees higher, 84 down the shore in Wildwood, New Jersey. And again, here we have our 7-day forecast. So those afternoon thunderstorms are coming. Some sun will break up that weather pattern on Thursday, but the humidity is sticking around, and those pop-up storms are still in the forecast for Friday and Saturday heading into this weekend. And back to local news this morning. Developing in Camden County, a large police presence was seen last night at Sahara Sam's Oasis. Sky Fox was over the water park on Route 73 in West Berlin after initial reports of a 10-year-old child in cardiac arrest. Police aren't saying much about what happened, but we did get a statement from the water park that reads, "Right now we are completing a thorough review of the incident and are working with local authorities." And in Chester County, a former Downingtown resource officer is behind bars, accused of having an inappropriate relationship with a former student. Police say it happened while 44-year-old Stephanie Dunn was serving as an officer at Downingtown West High School. Investigators found more than 6,000 text messages between Dunn and the 17-year-old boy. She has since been removed from the district and is charged with corruption of minors. And in Mercer County, police need your help finding a man they say has been groping women for 5 years. Now new surveillance may help them catch him once and for all. The latest incident happened last Saturday morning in Princeton on Linden Lane. This is the man seen running away after a 24-year-old woman reported being groped. Police say the same thing happened to a 15-year-old girl last month. They believe he's the same man responsible for more than a dozen gropings dating back to 2014. It's got young women in the area taking precautions.
I think I've been a little bit more cognizant of going out when it's dark out because of stuff like this.
Here we have 2 sketches police released of the man, who is described as Hispanic, short, with a stocky build and medium-length hair. Police also want to know if you think you've been a victim and if you recognize the man, to give them a call.
Two or three lifeguards.
And in Atlantic County, we now know the name of the father who drowned trying to save his son in the ocean in Atlantic City. 58-year-old Ton Bowie lived in Berks County. He died Monday morning after running into the water as his 11-year-old son struggled to stay afloat. Lifeguards weren't yet on duty, so a Good Samaritan, who is a former New York police officer, grabbed a boogie board and tried to save them. The child made it back to the shore alive, but his father did not. Our thoughts are with his family. And here in Philadelphia, a tribute was held last night to honor a local rapper who was shot dead in Southwest Philly. On Sunday, someone opened fire during a music video shoot, killing 21-year-old rapper Bankroll Gambino, whose real name is Ezra Way. 5 others were injured. Investigators believe there were at least 2 shooters, but so far, no arrests have been made. And in Burlington County, a man from Trenton has confessed to selling heroin that killed a Mansfield man last summer. 29-year-old Darius Beckett pleaded guilty yesterday to the drug-induced death in exchange for 8 years behind bars. Last August, Mansfield police found the body of 25-year-old James Walton in his bedroom with a hypodermic needle in his arm. Beckett's official sentencing is set for September 20th. See this man pushing a stroller? Well, there's no baby inside. Philadelphia police say the man used the stroller as a decoy to steal 3 flat-screen TVs from the Mann Music Center on Parkside Avenue earlier this month. Once he got inside, police say he snuck into concession tents and took off with the TVs. If this man looks familiar to you, you are urged to contact police. And the final beam was put in place yesterday at Jefferson Cherry Hill Hospital. It completes the second and final phase of improvement projects at the hospital, which included a new 90-bed patient pavilion with private rooms. The first phase was finished in 2017 and included a new hospital atrium lobby, medical office building, and parking facilities. The hospital will open sometime in 2020.
You're good? Good. Okay. Ready, Mayor? Hold on.
Can we just move And on Good Day this morning, Helping Heal Hearts, how Burlington County native and basketball star Jason Thompson is raising awareness about heart disease. He joined the studio this morning with a personal story that's driving his mission.
Thank
Oh,
you.
nice. Yes. Okay. It took me a second, but I'm with you now.
Oh, boy.
That's because next we're about to talk with Mount Laurel, New Jersey native Jason Thompson, who was drafted in the first round of the 2008 NBA draft by the Sacramento Kings, and he went on to play with several other teams, including the Sixers.
Yes.
But more recently, he was inducted into the Rider University Men's Basketball Hall of Fame. He even has his own gym. Yes, he does. There at Rider.
And Jason is sitting right here with us to talk about how the death of his cousin Tiffany led to the creation of a foundation that raises awareness about this heart disease. And also with us is Tiffany's twin, Crystal. Hi, Crystal.
Hi.
Thank you for coming
Good morning. Yes, thank you.
Good morning.
Appreciate you having us.
The pride of Rider University. Yes. Isn't your name on a cord or something?
And so at just 25, you aren't expecting someone to pass away from a condition like this. And hypertrophic cardiomyopathy is actually the leading cause of sudden cardiac death in young people under the age of 30.
Wasn't she exercising when it happened?
Absolutely. So she was actually working out at her home gym. She was running on a treadmill, and she passed away that way. So.
And you guys had no idea that she had heart disease or anything?
None. So no symptoms, and unfortunately, and obviously I'm not a doctor, but unfortunately there aren't always symptoms associated with HCM. So it's very important, and something that we always try to advocate for is making sure that not just children and young adults and young athletes are aware of some of the side effects, the conditions that they should be looking for, that their parents are aware as well, because that's very important.
So you got to be tested. If you don't even know you have it or symptoms, you got to be tested.
You have to be tested.
So did you go get tested right away?
I did. So every year I go and I make sure that I get my EKG, my echocardiograms, and that I get checked.
Every year. So this is something that could develop later in life? Or?
It's not so much that it can develop later on in life, but it's always good just to be aware. So that's something that's another thing that we really want to make sure that we're always helping people make sure that they're being aware of their personal health, especially when it relates to
this day and age, and it has been, you got to raise money for foundations like yours to raise awareness. So let's do that tomorrow night.
Absolutely.
Yes, tell us about the event.
We have the first annual summer soiree at Union Trust Ballroom tomorrow night from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. You know, dressed to impress. I know I'm bringing out one of my favorite new suits out.
Okay.
Obviously, we want everyone to come because you guys are our hosts.
Yes.
So we appreciate you guys for doing that as well. So like I said, it's for a great cause. You know, it's going to be a real good time. Have, you know, VIP. I'm sure you guys will be in the VIP with everyone as well.
If they let me in. Yeah. Just real quickly, tell us about your sister. What do you miss most, and what was the special quality about her?
She was such a wonderful person. Tiffany honestly was my best friend, my other half. Clearly, as I'm sure you can imagine, being a twin, it's a deep loss, but more so is she just had this infectious spirit, very happy, lived life to the fullest, and we're really looking forward to being able to celebrate her tomorrow.
Yeah, and even for you, Jason, you guys were really close.
For sure. I mean, one of her major sports was to play playing basketball. She played high school in Washington Township, very local, and also Cecil Community College. Okay. And most of the time, every time she needed help, you know, I would always be there, any type of advice and stuff like that.
Well, let's celebrate her
yes.
Tomorrow and raise some awareness.
Let's do it. Okay, the summer soiree, it's tomorrow. We'll have a link on our website, fox29.com. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
We'll be right back.
And we are going to take you over now to Washington, where Senate Democrats are speaking on the Senate floor. Stay with us.
Protecting them burns just as brightly in the American heart. And for somehow Leader McConnell is impervious to all of that. Climate. I am pleased to share that yesterday, the Senate Committee on Environmental and Public Works did something amazing and groundbreaking. It passed the first ever climate title in a transportation reauthorization bill. Thanks to Senate Democrats on the committee, and particularly Ranking Member Carper's hard work, the highway bill actually includes $10 billion dedicated to climate-focused programs and policies to reduce emissions and improve the resiliency of our transportation infrastructure to climate change and natural disasters. It includes funds for states to reduce carbon emissions, support for electric and alternative fuel vehicles, reductions in emissions from ports and roadways, and investment in climate-resistant infrastructure. Less than a year ago, I said that Democrats would demand that climate change be addressed in any infrastructure bill moving forward. This bill, with its $10 billion investment in climate, is a product of that demand. This will be the first time serious money has been included in an infrastructure package to fight climate change, but it certainly will not be the last. The clock is ticking when it comes to climate change. We need to make progress whenever we can and as quickly as we can. If the Republican leader won't bring legislation to the floor, Democrats are prepared to take the lead and fight for climate progress every opportunity we get. That's precisely what this $10 billion climate investment in the highway bill represents. And again, I want to thank Senator Carper for his leadership, his skill, his persistence in getting it done. Protecting our country and the world from the threat of climate change is no less than a moral obligation. When we return from recess, Democrats will continue to look for more opportunities to make progress on climate change. And finally, on the debate last night when it comes to health care. Last night, half of the Democratic presidential field engaged in a healthy debate, a great deal of which was focused on the number one issue to American voters, health care. Despite different policy proposals, the debate showed that the Democratic Party is completely united on the idea of universal health care coverage, as well as the need to lower the cost and improve the quality of health care for every American. But one point that should have been made in the debate, and unfortunately wasn't, is the fact that Republicans are actively sabotaging our current health care system. The difference between the parties, whether you were one of the more moderate members on health care or one of the ones who had a broader, more sweeping proposal, but those differences almost pale before the differences between every Democrat on that platform and our Republicans, because the Republicans are seeking to undo health care, to sabotage health care, to have fewer people covered. And as a result of their ideas, thoughts, and lawsuits, costs going up. There's a huge gap between the parties on health care. And I'm glad we're having an active debate on how to move forward, cover more people, cost less. But while we're doing that, the administration is doing the opposite, the Trump administration. It has expanded junk insurance plans, reduced funds to help Americans locate and sign up for the right insurance, and ended cost-sharing payments that help low-income families afford care. Congressional Republicans have tried, and thankfully failed, to repeal the Affordable Care Act. The coup de grace, of course, is the fact that now the Trump administration, with the support of many Republican attorneys general and the complicity of every member of the Senate on the Republican side here, or just about every member, the administration supporting a lawsuit that would invalidate the Affordable Care Act entirely, kicking tens of millions off insurance, eliminating protections for pre-existing conditions for over 100 million Americans who have those pre-existing conditions, and just about every Republican is going along with that. The difference in the 2020 elections between Democrats and Republicans on health care will be apparent and glaring, and will far and away subsume any differences that we may have on policy. I yield the floor.
Leadership time is reserved. Morning business is closed. Under the previous order, the Senate will proceed to executive session and resume consideration of the following nomination, which the clerk will report.
Nomination, the Judiciary, Mark T. Pittman of Texas to be United States District Judge for the Northern District of Texas.
And that is going to do it for us today at Fox 29's News Now. Be sure to catch us again tomorrow, same time, same place, 10 a.m. And follow us at fox29.com, as well as our mobile app and across social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And thank you for joining us.